Today's panel discussion, in fact, is an excellent initiative, and thanks to the HR for taking this up, where we are having men on the panel sharing how they have become enablers to facilitate the women in their lives to pursue these aspirations for higher development. So we have a very eminent panel with us who have all been enablers. And I have been given the task to moderate this discussion.
In my opinion, there is no paradigm shift. It's all how you are brought up in the family. It's all about family culture. Because I am brought up in a family, we are the joint family. And joint family means we have 5 boys and 1 girl in the family, and my mother and my father. We had cows at home. The water has to be drawn from the well. And it was a difficult task for my mother to manage house, even though she was a house worker. That is why we were right from their childhood, we were trained to help her. And that has continuing even today, it has become a habit now. Even today, if there is no housemaid, I'll tell my wife, okay, I'll take care of cleaning utensils and washing clothes. It's become a sheer habit. So I don't think there is a paradigm shift. Yes, earlier, not many women were not working. Now that has changed. With that, obviously, there is a need to support her.
I would like to turn to KK. Your wife is a homemaker. Now, being an HR person who is meant to be very sensitive and alert about human developmental needs, what would you like to share with the audience about the importance of being alert to developmental needs and growth aspirations of women, be it your sister, mother, wife, daughter?
Maybe post-marriage today, if I look at, because my wife consciously took a decision of being at home, she loves to do that part of it. And it is no less than being a homemaker of 2 kids. It's no less than a full-time job of 24 hours. I work for maybe 12 hours, 13 hours. But for her, it has become a 24-hour job. And I think whatever I help her is to that bit wherein there is a respite for her, or there's a support to her in terms of, because she takes full care of the teaching of the kids. So whenever you are there, try to give that 100% of your time and effort to support. So that is the only enablement you can do, because you spend maybe 14 or 15 hours of the day, 6 days or 5 days a week out, and maybe that 3 hours, 1 hour, whatever the time may be, that's the only time where we can support. And that is what matters. It is not the quantum or quantity, but the willingness to be there, stand there, be around. That makes a lot of change and support to the family.
Very often, women face internal emotional conflicts which undermine their confidence to pursue their career or self-development goals. How do you think can men contribute to help resolve this conflict and give them the gentle push that they need to fly high?
When you are actually enabling the lady of the house to go and pursue her dreams, you should also be sensitive to the fact that that might be her own estimation of what is development. It might not be something which conforms to what society feels is development. The other thing that I've noticed is that, a lot of times how women perceive themselves or their careers or what they can do of their own lives is conditioned by how they were raised themselves by their parents. Whether their parents thought that they were worth something more than what they're doing today. So what they consider developmental goals is also conditioned by that. And at that time, enabling the person is a bigger challenge, because that person probably isn't even aware of how much she can achieve. Like, I only found out that my wife is a fabulous painter only about 3 years ago.
Very well said, Swasayan. It's an excellent example he set in terms of creating the enabling space, because what he said about developmental goals, that is exactly what even we had in mind. I would like to now turn to Mr. Mathure. We understand that you have been a marathoner and you have instilled the passion of running in your wife. And your tweets and talks, you tweet and talk highly about capabilities of women in different roles. So many a times while doing the balancing act, women ignore their own self, especially their physical and emotional health. What would you like to say in this regard to women and also to men? How does one go about contributing to ensure family well-being in terms of having healthy habits and lifestyle for all?
All of you will agree that marriage is a collaboration, right? It is a partnership. And in any enterprise or in any entity which is a partnership, which is not a solo game, the success of the partnership, the success of the cooperative enterprise is going to depend upon the ability of the individuals to contribute equally to that enterprise. To be very honest with you, marathon has actually taught me the true values of being collaborative, of being supportive in your approach. And why is that? Me and my wife were once sitting in the evening having a drink, and I just happened to remark, is that why don't you run along with me? And she's been a sportsman, but she's never run a marathon in her life. So next day, we decided to run together. And believe me, during that run, we must have fought as much as we never must have fought before. Because you had one guy who was keeping a pace of maybe 5 minutes to a kilometer, and you had the other runner who was keeping a pace of 20 minutes to a kilometer. So a huge distance developed between the two of us. And like I said, the moment we were able to match each other's pace, that is the real instance wherein both of us started actually improving tremendously in our individual abilities to run the marathon. So a collaborative approach between the husband and the wife or the partners towards physical fitness is something that can work magic for you. Absolutely important.
We have with us a young speaker who's duly married. Okay, so that's another representation. Mr. Sumit Mittal, could you please share your views on being equal contributors to family well-being? Say in terms of husband being the homemaker and wife being the main bread earner. Would it be acceptable if both have the capabilities to fulfill their respective roles?
Somewhere in the middle, we actually understood the thing that for higher opportunities and progressive growth in life, you have to take a detour of what is happening right now. So we both plan to go ahead and pursue our master courses. Like for example, it was MBA for me, and for my wife it was doctorate and PhD. So my wife, she actually put ahead with her job. She quit her the progress of her PhD diploma for my MBA, and she went ahead. She has even continued with the job right now as well, because I'm still settling down here, and after a certain time, I think after 2-3 months maybe, we will renegotiate on the terms that you can go ahead and do your PhD, because it's a passion for a long period of time now. So I think in a household it is very important to have a trust between the two people and share responsibilities as such. So when I was studying outside India, I was having a home loan as well. So she was paying all the home loan EMIs, and thank you. And she was also paying for my rentals, what I was paying staying outside India. So I think maybe after settling down here in SR, I would try her to go her for a PhD course, a diploma, and support her on that way.
Tanya, you have been brought up in a family where there was no distinction between your brother and, you. Like your mother has raised you as equals. So, and you've witnessed your parents running the family as a teamwork. So on the basis of your observation of your parents, can you share about how should a woman go about enrolling the rest of the family into this philosophy?
Starting from the basic household chores were pretty, was something that my mother used to always say. She came with the philosophy of many hands make light work. So if we dealt to go back to things that we wanted to do, we had a condition that we had to first finish the household chores first so that we can get back to doing what we wanted to do. I think as we've grown older, I tend to manage the work outside the house, whereas my brother manages the work inside the house. So my mom's a teacher, and every Saturday there is a routine call when we were kids at around 12 o'clock before she comes home to see if the homework has already been done. And the call doesn't come to me, it goes to my brother, because he's younger to me by 3 years, but his house handling skills, and when I say that I don't undermine my efforts, all I'm saying is that he's someone who understands the importance of using the washing machine rightly, loading the dishwasher correctly, versus I would probably just want to load it in a hurry because I have some other things to do. Yesterday when I deliberately took an effort to speak to my mother about it, I said, how did you manage so many years? And she said, I think the entire magic lies in how compatible you are with your partner.
For me, the key takeaways, and I'm sure it would be for all of you, is, okay, all these men over here have been, as we have heard them, they have been enablers, and to use a better word, which I took from Mr. Mathure, they have been creating conducive atmosphere at home for empowerment. And I wouldn't say this empowerment is only of the women in the house, because, you know, as you say, when a woman gets empowered, the entire family gets empowered. So, thank you very much, gentlemen.